Hello and welcome to Talk Games match preview of the Carabao Cup tie between West Ham United and Blackburn Rovers from the London Stadium on Wednesday evening. Gonzo, kick us off as always. What do you know about Blackburn?
Well, lots historically. Not so much the new incarnation of Blackburn. I'm not even sure if the Venkies are still in charge, which seemed to be the point of much of their demise. Certainly, they're a long way off the projects that Jack Walker so famously started and finished. Actually, not just started and finished. But they're under a bit of a resurgence at the moment. Now, I'm unsure whether that's down to good planning or good management or just, the team playing well. But they're pushing for promotion now, Geo. And I've got to say that's going to be something they're absolutely delighted about. And for that reason, they're probably going to have a very interesting decision to make. The normal circumstances, I think, had they been in mid-table, they might have been considering selling their star player. But I mean, they're right up there. People are praising Burnley for the way they've started the season, the Championship. But Blackburn are not far behind. That being said, I have to check. They've got someone breathing down their necks. Sheffield United just breathing down their necks with a game in hand just behind them. But it's good, mate. You know, look, 4 wins out of their last 5.
Yeah, there's not much I can tell you about Blackburn, in all honesty. I couldn't remember the last time I seen them play, even. I try and watch as much Championship football as I could. Funny enough, I watched their next opponents at the weekend. But in terms of Blackburn, I haven't seen too much of them. But as Gonzo said, they're currently sitting second in the Championship, won 5 of their last 6. The only defeat coming in a 1-0 loss against Coventry City. In fact, their last 3 defeats, which go back to the start of October, have all been by 1-0 margins as well. They don't concede too many. Let's discuss Ben Bereton Diaz first of all. We've been linked to him quite a lot in the final 6 months of his contract. 9 goals so far this season for him. Someone you'd be keen to add in the January transfer window, or do you think that ship has sailed?
Oh, I'm not sure that the ship has sailed. Far from it. Yeah, I am keen. I wasn't sure at the start, actually, because he started off really quickly last season. I'm talking about here. And his stats were really good, but his stats were so good, they sort of carried him for quite a while. Then he stopped scoring, but his stats still looked good, if you know what I mean. But I did wonder, is he a flash in the pan? Is that it? I mean, he's got quite an interesting backstory with his heritage and whatnot. But he's from Stoke, as I understand it, and but his parents are Chilean. So that's the country he represents. So I didn't know that at the time. I thought, is he somebody that's, just come over and he's going to flatter to deceive? He didn't. And actually, he started to come back and show some form towards the end of last season. And the more I looked at him, I thought he was a little bit more one-dimensional. Then I started to see he could play wide. He was faster than I thought he initially was. Then you look at him this season, and clearly it's not a flash in the pan because he's now scoring goals again. Sometimes will play centrally, will play wide sometimes now as well. So the sort of a diverse player positionally that you'd probably be looking for, actually. And yeah, he's got an eye for goal, good technique, good pace. He's not a bad size either. So, yeah, I mean, what's not to like? I think his contract's coming to an end as well, Gio, which is closer to the point.
I think when we first got linked to him, I was a bit unsure on him. I could only go by what I've seen in the highlights. I couldn't tell you anything about his all-round game. And if any Blackburn fan is watching this, please feel free to get in the comments, let us know a little bit about Ben Bereton Diaz, because as the season's gone over the last 2 or 3 weeks, Gonzo, I feel like we are one attacker short, really, which is because of Maxwell Cornet being unreliable. Some of our attackers are out of form. Even doing my team for this little preview, I thought, well, who would we put in? And it's like, well, we're missing someone to some extent. We could probably do with an alternative that isn't Smack and Antonio up front. That's someone that is versatile, because it can't be just a striker. It has to be somebody, if we do get them in, that can actually cover more than one position as well. And he's quite young as well. So there's a lot to like about him, but I'm only basing that off of what I've seen from the highlights rather than his actual all-round game. If you're a Blackburn fan, what would you be thinking right now? Because you're going into the January transfer window with a realistic shout of automatic promotion to the Premier League, which could see Ben Bereton Diaz walk out on a free at the end of the season, or do you cash in on him now and get that 15 million you might get and try and reinvest it in January? So what would you prefer? Keep the player that's going to get you goals, rotate your money and build longer term. But hopefully, one of those players you bring in can replace what Diaz is currently doing.
Well, I mean, I almost flipped the question and put it back on West Ham, which is, what would we do if Declan Rice had 6 months left on his contract, bearing in mind, they're in the shout out for promotion, Blackburn, we're in the shout out for relegation. What would we do if we were going to do that? I think I'd very much think I'm going to have to keep the player because you don't know what you're going to get. There's a gamble there. They know what they got in Ben Bereton Diaz, which is goals in the Championship, and they're so close to being at the top, and you've only really got to get top two. I don't. The jeopardy of the playoff is something that's exciting, isn't it? Possibly the most exciting thing in football, but it's to be avoided. Let's be fair. It's a great day out if you win it, but everything else is bad about it. There's no guarantee that whoever they get in will do the job for them. I can't see them getting a deal like sometimes they decide, as I don't think he's a big enough player to sign for Liverpool, and then Liverpool say you can have him back for 6 months or something like that. So I think you can put that out of the equation actually. So keep him. Definitely they should keep him. It's a gamble, but you're gambling that 15 million. The riches, if you get to the Premier League, you're looking at 170 million for one season. That's without the parachute payments. It pales into big significance. Blackburn Rovers should keep that player.
Any players you know of?
Only Bradley Dack. That's it. And obviously Bereton Diaz, who's skillful. We've only know him because we were linked with him for a while. Looks to have a good energy. Got some good skills as well, that player actually. And not at the time when we were looking at him, I had a look and I thought actually not bad at all. Apart from that, I don't know any of them.
No, I think he's had a bit of a falling out with the manager. I think there's a bit of a person. I think so. I think there's a bit of a personality clash going on with Jack and Thomason. I'm not 100% sure, but again, that's just what I've read briefly coming into this game, that there's a bit of a funny thing there. But that might mean that he gets an appearance, if you like. The only player that I know of is Sam Smodics, who is, of course, a West Ham fan. He's got a season ticket. He's a season ticket holder as well at the London Stadium. Sam Smodics, SZM. Or DICS. Oh, okay. And I remember him from Colchester. I remember seeing him at Colchester years ago, thinking this guy's going to make it. Arguably, he has made it. He's at Blackburn without playing at Blackburn. But he's a big West Ham fan.
Good for him. Good for him.
An interesting one, and I think he's probably in line for starting on Wednesday night as well. So he's going to get to play against his boyhood club for Blackburn Rovers. They've got Burnley coming up on Sunday, Gonzo. Blackburn have got Burnley as the next Championship game. A bit like quite stashy about Ben Bereton Diaz. I mean, if you're a Blackburn fan, are you thinking just bidding this competition off ASAP and focus on the league?
I think so. Yeah, I think that sort of makes sense. And I would expect them to do so as well. And let's be fair, Burnley have shown a little bit of vulnerability in their last game. I think they're in the lead as well, quite possibly, against Sheffield United. Burnley. What's Sheffield United? I think Sheffield United come from behind to beat them. That might
they beat them 5-2 in the end.
Okay. So they've shown some vulnerability there, Burnley. And I think if you were Blackburn, you'd be thinking, hello, I'll have a little bit of that. It's a bit of a derby as well, that one. They're very close in proximity, those two clubs. So it's not quite. I've been to a Burnley game. I went to Burnley Stockport derby years ago. Seriously, at Stockport, and it was. I'd say it was a bit. I've got to say, the worst player I have ever seen play football played for Burnley on that game, and his name was Joe Jacobs. Joe Jacobs, but not as you would expect it to be spelt. The worst player I have ever seen. But that was quite fraught actually, and they were really. I was in the Stockport end because I went with a friend who lived in Redditch, which was quite near. It was really feisty old encounter actually. So lots of clubs in and around that sort of area, isn't there? So they'll be up for it for all sorts of local reasons and derby reasons as well. It's easy to you sit in the big smoke in London and and think it's it's all we got derbies here, and or you might think the Merseyside derby, but these games matter. As I've seen it at close quarters. These games massively matter. That's the thing. If it was anyone else, they might even stack it off a bit, but they've got a local derby. It's for. Can they get first place? I'm not sure they can go to first yet, but it's pretty close to it. They have to take that really, really seriously. And then travelling down to London for a cup game, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they've got to dismiss it. I think they will dismiss it as well. I expect a second string Blackburn side on Wednesday night. Players coming back from injury, players that haven't had the minutes, any youngsters that Thomason's going to want to have a look at as well. I expect them to be lining up for Blackburn. I don't expect them to take this too serious. And for understandable reasons, they're in with a realistic shout of promotion to the Premier League. And could they win this tie? Well, yeah, they fielded their first 11. They possibly could. But are they going to progress far beyond this tie in the Carabao Cup? It's unlikely. They might go another round or so after it, and then they'll come up against a better Premier League side in a better situation. And the end result's the same, which is knocked out. And you've possibly, well, you have risked your domestic campaign in the process. And I think that would just be silly to do. So I think Blackburn will sort of draw a line through this one and say, let's just focus on that Burnley game on Sunday afternoon. But anyway, talking about Blackburn taking it serious, you want West Ham to take this one serious?
I do, but not for cup reasons, funnily enough. To try and find some form, to try and get some confidence into those players. I could, because of the Conference League, when we had a discussion about it the other day, I would not be totally disappointed if we didn't win the League Cup this season. Let me get that right. It's not about the tournament itself. But I'm done with the resting of the players. All right, we've done lots of that. There's been lots of chopping and changing. We rested all the players before the Crystal Palace game, and look what good it did us. Nothing, honestly. They looked. Never mind. They didn't look like they'd been rested for 90 minutes. They looked like they'd played 1,000 minutes. Those players. So it didn't matter. The rest was negligible. Nothing. Got nothing from it at all. So actually, I do think it's a little bit about form, and it's about patterns of play and all that sort of stuff. So actually, I would be looking at this. Moyes complains about training and we don't get much training. All right. We've just played at home. We played and then we're playing at home. We get basically 3 games at home. No travel. None of it. All right. We stay at home. This is your training. This one now. Here's your training match. So actually find something out. Sort a new system. Sort what you want to do and put it into practice against Blackburn. And then let's hope and let's try and do that against Leicester afterwards. So from a player's perspective and a team perspective, I'll take this seriously. There's a real good chance to try something.
Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what your 11 is now. And also, you've almost got me wanting to see your 11. I don't even know what it is yet. I'm thinking, yeah, you're right, Gonzo. Yeah, I want to see that.
It's not that exciting.
I don't know what it is yet. It's like a dog.
Exciting.
You know, if you talk excitedly to the dog just gets excited. You could be saying, I'm going to shoot you. The dog will go, yeah, I'm going to shoot you next.
Yeah. You should put an advert in right now.
Well, speaking of adverts, actually, I need to promote Patreon. If you... It is genuinely on my list. It's the Sharpie bit, right? But our Patreon, you probably know what it is now, but if you don't, it's additional Hammers Chat videos. We'll be doing our player ratings from the Blackburn game on Thursday, Wednesday morning. Before the Blackburn game, we've got a video looking ahead to that game. Earlier on today, we did our player ratings from the Crystal Palace game. Wasn't great. Moyes got a bit of a two-footed studs-up tackle going in on there. That was
got hit with an umbrella.
Yeah, there was no exciting dog talk going on about David Moyes in the Patreon show earlier. But not just that, you get other benefits as well, including entry into our giveaways. You also get online store discount as well. And also, Thursday, we are launching our 12 Days of Christmas offers. Every single day for 12 days following Thursday, there'll be a new offer on the store valid for 24 hours only. However, patrons have got access to it tonight. They know exactly what's coming up. And they also get access to it at 8:30 the night before. So they get access to all the offers 12 months in advance of non-patrons at our online store. And some really good offers coming up. We're a little bit biased, but there is some really good offers coming up. If you fancy checking out, getting all that benefits as well as supporting the channel, please go to patreon.com/HammersChat. The link is in the description and the pinned comments of this video. Just click it, have a little read. You get all the perks. You get all the additional video content. And it is from £3.60 per month, all in. So less than £1 a week if you fancy joining up. And that'll be the supporters tier, which unlocks quite a few things. Thank you very much to anybody that heads over and joins up. Gonzo, I was actually going to say, I don't care about the League Cup, actually. And I'm angry. Angry. I'm aware you're thinking you don't sound very angry. I'm trying to remain calm for this. But normally I get really excited about the cup competitions, but actually this one's come round and I'm just like, I'm not bothered by it. And I hate the fact that I'm not bothered, but I want to be like, let's go for the League Cup. We've got a chance of winning this. And I don't really believe we do. And the league, because of the situation in the league and what we've just seen against Crystal Palace, I'm more of the mindset, which is we don't need this. This is a bit unhelpful, actually. I'd rather this game wasn't here. And I was going to justify that by saying, well, we need all that time on the training pitch. But like you said, the 11 that played against Palace had that week on the training ground for the first time this season, and the result was the worst performance.
They got worse
of the season.
Keep them off the training pitch.
Yeah, so no training, nothing. But I've done my team. I'm going to stick with it. I've got a feeling come the end of it, I'm going to say scrap my one. Let's just go with your one again. I don't like it.
It's building it up too much. But let's hear yours. Let's hear your one in its full entirety. And
well, Ariola in goal, right?
Yeah.
Ariola's in goal. My back four have gone for Soufal, Dawson, Ogbonna, and Ben Johnson. Well, let's you give me your one now.
Oh, no. As I said, we do yours in its entirety. We do it different today.
Anyway, midfield, I've gone for Lanzini and Coventry. Attacking midfield, I've gone for Paqueta, Fornals, and Jared Bowen. And up front, I've gone with Mubama. And I'm not taking the piss. I actually liked what I saw last week from him. And I think he showed more enthusiasm than I saw from Antonio or Scamacca against Crystal Palace. And the reason I've got Paqueta and Bowen in there is a bit of a punishment, really. They were both crap against Palace. You don't want to start this game, but you're starting it. And Fornals almost deserves a shot in good form last Thursday. And Lanzini and Coventry deserve the minutes. They deserve to play this game because they've been good throughout their Conference League campaign. This is a similar level opposition. You know, Blackburn Reserves is probably what we're going to be playing on Wednesday. I expect them to be fine in there. And for the game in Romania, Moyes offered Fornals and Lanzini to not travel. They didn't even have to go. Never mind start. They could have stayed in London, but both of them wanted to go and play in Romania. In a dead rubber game, both of those two said, nope, I'm going, Gaffer. They turned up. Both of them played well. Fornals scored 2 goals. Give them the minutes on Wednesday night, and also give them a chance to earn the shirt for against the Leicester City game. There's got to be shirts up for grabs here. Moyes, when we spoke about last week about the FCSB game, it was Moyes has got his team for Palace already. He's working backwards now. Yeah. And he did. He's 11 changes. He can't do that on Wednesday. On Wednesday, he cannot have his team for Leicester. There's got to be 2 or 3 players start at least on Wednesday. If you play well, you're in the team against Leicester City, or in some players, i.e. Jared Bowen, you play crap, you're not in the team against Leicester City. In defence, the reason I put Dawson in there because I don't want to see him against Leicester. Despite what I've just said, I want to see Aguerd and Zuma starting against Leicester City. They're both a little bit either injury prone or on their way back to fitness. So for that reason, I think I'd keep them out of this game and get them patched up and ready to go against Leicester. And the same with Johnson and Soufal. Kerr can't play right back against Leicester. Harvey Barnes will roast him. It won't be fun to watch. It won't be fun for Kerr to play. So let's give Soufal a go at right back. Put Ben Johnson in at left back. And we know Johnson will play well there. So, yeah, that's why I've done it. And like I said, Mubama up front, he deserves to go. I was impressed by what I saw. Was he majestic? Was he perfect? No. But I'm not annoyed with Antonio and Scamacca after Sunday's game. I don't really want to see either of them play. I want to give Mubama a go. So there's my 11. What you got?
Well, just before I do, just string it out a little bit longer. I think Moyes needs to recognise what he's up against here. Okay,
Blackburn Reserves.
Yeah, absolutely. There was some dissent from the crowd, right? And he decided to go back at it. So he decided to bite it back. Basically, the crowd had a bite at him, me included, right? Had a bite at him for doing what he did with Ben Rama. He basically snapped back. So that's the situation now, right? He's in a situation. So a situation was created where the board, or whatever, you can even decide which one of the board decided to leak the snippets of information that they've been leaking today, basically saying that Moyes is probably okay. If there's no problem, you don't even leak that information, right? So clearly there's something stewing here. But there is also a dynamic within this, which David Moyes can probably have a certain amount of certainty that he will have some support in the boardroom. But also there's going to be something in his mind, I would hope, that he's actually dealing with somebody who's already let him go once before. So before he's too certain that this guy won't let him go, he's done it before. But also he has the unknown, and the unknown quantity is Daniel Kretinsky, because he's got such a major shareholding and the option to buy so many shares. It only takes him, and we don't know at the moment. We don't know how much of this 180 million came from him or where it came from. It only takes him to turn around and say, "Sorry, I don't care how you normally do things. I'm not going for all this." So actually, David Moyes probably has less time than he thinks he has, and certainly has less time than the leaking memo from the board would have him believe. So with that, he needs to take this very, very seriously in regards to preparing for the Leicester game. It basically his last throw of the dice, and it's that whole thing of, go out on your shield, whatever. Or come back. I don't know. Go out on your sword, come back. I always get it mixed up. So
never die by your sword.
About swords and shields and all that type of stuff, right? Whatever. Go out with you swinging your sword, but come back on your shield. Who knows? I've mullered the saying. Apologies. But whatever it is, he can't keep thinking that he can repeat what he's doing and it will bring some success. It's the old madness one again. So change lots. You're right about punishing. You're punishing people by including them. I'm sort of punishing some by taking them out, and I get it because I'm doing the same, but mine's just slightly different. So I'm going to go with 3 at the back, but a lot of these players, I want them to play. I want them to play against Leicester. All right. If you'd want to give them a rest, what day is this one on?
It's Wednesday.
Okay, give them the Thursday off training. All right, but play them. This is the training match here. So Areola in goal. He starts as well, by the way, against Leicester. Oh, sorry. Whoops, sorry.
I assume you were going to pick him anyway. You pick him all the time.
Good. Back 3 of Johnson, Agurd, and Zuma. Okay, Zuma central, Agurd on the left. Wing backs of Harrison, Ashby, and Ollie Scarles. A central midfield. I'm not letting you down, am I? With a team.
I forgot. I'll be honest with you. I forgot about Ashby.
Okay. I mean, if we're playing wing backs, he's the one I want. Him right there now, because I want a supply line. Basically, as I say, go out on your swordy shieldy type thing. Go for it, is what I'm saying. Rice and Downs in central midfield with Paqueta ahead of them, and then up front Benrahma and Skamaka, and go for it. Let's have crosses in. Scarles has got a delivery, isn't he? He can put a cross into a dangerous area. We know Skamaka's got the movement at the moment. I think Skamaka's got the because he's sick of it. He already looks fed up and like he wants out already. Give him a little bit of encouragement, particularly if they train for a day with this team. He's going to know if he makes those runs, like the sort of runs we saw when he first came to West Ham, he knows that he's going to get delivery from Ashby, he's going to get delivery from Scarles. Paqueta's going to be setting him up. Got Benrahma next to him doing the jinky stuff. And then you've got Rice and Downs in the middle. And I'll be saying to those boys, do it here, do yourself proud, and show that you have some cohesive passing between you. You lot start against Leicester. Have a go.
I was going to say, this is the problem with your team, innit? Scarles will play well, probably get an assist, and then we'll sit here doing the preview going, I want to see Scarles start, and we know he's never going to start against Leicester. So I think that's part of the problem, but that's just a fan element. And also, interestingly, possibly bad, neither of us have got Emerson in the team.
Yeah, I mean, he was, but then I'd forgotten about Skull. I thought, oh, no, you're gone, because I can't guarantee that he'll get a supply line going. And if we do, as we suspect, see a Blackburn team who are concentrating on Burnley and concentrating on their impressive championship form, then we have to assume we're not playing a team with their best players. Then actually, how much defending is there going to be to do? We would hope not an awful lot. And do you know what? You would bloody well hope that collectively between Johnson, Agurd and Zuma, with either Rice or Downs sat in front of them, that collectively they could keep Blackburn Rovers at bay. If we can't, then David Moyes has got bigger problems than the crowd singing songs at him.
Well, this is just it. Do you know how we've spoken about as fans, we're not too bothered by this competition as we would have been years gone by? That doesn't apply to Moyes. Moyes can't take this lightly. Just because me and you're like, well, I'm not that bothered by it. Actually, well, he can't think like that. He's got to win it. He has to win this game. He absolutely has to win this game. And he's probably got to win it comfortably as well. And then going into Leicester, he's got to get a win there too. And that won't change a lot of fans' opinions about him, but that's just to keep him in a job, essentially. Yeah. He's got to win these games just to keep him in a job beyond the World Cup break. 7 games still going, so with sort of Premier League teams playing Premier League teams. At least 7 Premier League clubs are going to get knocked out this week. So arguably, there's a good chance for a Premier League club that's not playing another team from the same division to advance in this competition. Are you confident for this one?
Yes, I am confident for this one. But
because of Blackburn playing the reserves.
Yeah, I am actually, and because he's actually quite good at these games, and it doesn't affect anything I thought about Crystal Palace, and it doesn't affect anything that I think about Leicester. In this Blackburn Rovers League Cup preview, am I confident? Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Providing Blackburn do actually field their second string 11. If Blackburn put out their first team, I'll be honest, I'll worry. Because that Blackburn team are looking at the results, they're tough to break down. They don't concede too many goals. They're not free scoring either. But they're winning games. So that's the point. That's what makes them good. That's why they're second, because they're winning games. And if I was to see Diaz up front with Gallagher and whatnot, then I'll start to think, oh, no, this is going to be... I can almost see what's going to happen here. And this is, screams banana skin and us losing that game kind of thing. But I'm relatively confident at this present time because I assume... I'll be honest, I read a Blackburn Rovers fan forum earlier, just have a little read, see what they were thinking ahead of the game, just to get finger on pulse type stuff. And they were all listing the players I've never heard. I don't know the Blackburn team. So when they're saying, oh, this is what I would play, I thought, yeah, but is that your centre backs? Or it's all very well naming them. I can't, if I was a Bournemouth fan, I say, I'd play these players. I think, right, okay, that's your second choice left back, blah, blah. So I had to sort of have a little look, and they're all like, the fans are all wanting to see their second string 11 put out there, saying don't even take the likes of Diaz and Gallagher, don't even take them to London, leave them up north, get ready for that game on Sunday, no risks. And one or two of them referred to a game against Wigan last season in the Cup, and I think they put out a strong team, and I think it sort of like derailed their league campaign a little bit, because remember they were in for promotion a long ago, because we had very similar conversations about Adam Armstrong, which is, will they sell them? Well, we can't, because we've got a chance of getting promoted or whatever, so they had to keep him for a little bit longer than they perhaps would have
done. Haven't they, considering they sold him actually? Yeah,
well, they replaced him with Bereton Diaz. This is why Blackburn fans coined it in last season, because he was previously like an attacking midfielder for them. They sold Armstrong. Blackburn fans knew that was their new striker, and Sky Bet gave them odds of like one. I think it was 1,000 to 1. I want to say initially. I mean, it came down pretty quick. Initially, I think it was 1,000 to 1 for Diaz to score 20 or more league goals.
Oh, really?
So obviously, Blackburn fans were like, "What? That's our striker."
They thought he was a midfielder.
Yeah, nice. So Sky Bet thought, "Oh, he doesn't score very many goals. A handful of goals, 20 goals. You can have very." It's like West Ham saying, "Oh, can we have?" Flynn Downs to score 20, maybe not that drastic, but can we have Pablo Finales to score 20 Premier League goals next season? You'd think Sky might turn around and go, well, he's never done that. Why is he? Well, you can have generous odds then. So anyway, they obviously made the money.
Don't bet on that, by the way. That's not one of Geo's.
No, it's not a tip. It's not an endorsement. It's if anything, it's a fair play. Blackburn Rovers fans are cashing in.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, any final words from yourself as well as your score prediction, please?
No, not really. We've covered the game. This is all about David Moyes. I would normally say, it's an opportunity to put the feel-good factor back into the club. Actually, it's not that it's too far gone for that. We need the big results in the big games that matter to really count here. But it is a chance, and it might even be one of his last chances, I've got to say, to get the team playing like they're sharp, like they're fit, like they're interested, like they want to, like they got team spirit. There's a suspicion, and I don't think a completely unfounded one. There's a suspicion that he's lost the changing room. He needs to go out there and prove that that's not the case in the next two games, and this is the start of it. Does it carry the same gravitas as the Leicester game? No way. But you lose this, and it is very hard to win that Leicester game. You win this, do it right, and give some promise and give some encouragement to the players involved, you might have a chance at Leicester. But lose this, and it's almost impossible.
Two teams with more important games at the weekend, really. I think we're going to see two lineups which reflect that on Wednesday night as well. I expect a sort of a Conference League 11 from West Ham on 11. The teams we've gone through, I think mine's more... I'm going to have more correct players than you are, I think, because I think he will field Lanzini and Coventry and stuff like that. It's a big game, but it's also not a big game for Moyes. It's only a big game if he loses, but if he wins, it's not a big game. It's one of them, well, you're supposed to win that one, and what? But if you lose, it's, well, you're not supposed to lose that one, are you? Now look what you've done, Dave. So it's one of them, it's sort of like he can't really win, Moyes. All he can do is sort of delay until the Leicester game. But that's a situation he's put himself in. And he better hope that the lot he's just taken a swipe at in the last 2 weeks, or 2 swipes at the crowd, will actually be grateful, because they're way to turn up for what will be their second in the space of 3. You know, in the space of 7 days, they've got 3 home games. They're turning up. It's possibly going to be a miserable weather-wise night game to watch the West Ham reserves play Blackburn reserves and stuff like that. He's got to put on a show. He's got to put on. The players on the pitch need to perform and entertain the crowd. They deserve it. The fans going on Wednesday deserve to be entertained by West Ham. Anything less is not really good enough, actually. Not just winning, but winning comfortably. And I don't necessarily mean, like I said, I don't mean 4 or 5-0. I mean good football. Good football. That's what we need to see. And we need some positives to take into the Leicester game. Even if it's just 2 players play really well and force herself in, or like you said, he starts Scamacca and Paqueta, and they both get a goal and assist each or something, just some positive. Aguerd gets one half of football and gets taken off. There we go. There's a positive. That would indicate he's playing against Leicester City. We just need some positivity right now. And this is a game that is the perfect platform. It's a wonderful trapeze for us to springboard. Here's a showcase to fans. There you go. There's some positives. Look forward to the Leicester game. See you Saturday. What's your score prediction? You didn't give me one. You can tell where our minds are when we can't even think of a score. That thing.
2-0 West Ham. If it's Blackburn reserves. If it's not and we put out reserves, Blackburn win.
I agree with that. 2-0 West Ham, but if Blackburn put out their first team and we do not, and we put out our reserves, then yeah, I would go with that as well. Games played to finish, that's what we'll say. Game is played to finish on Wednesday. There's no replays. It is played to a finish on Wednesday night. So if it's a draw, if it's a draw at full time, don't leave your seats because you've got a penalty shootout coming up. Anyway, that's it from us. You've enjoyed this preview somehow. It's a bit of a negative preview, but
I don't know.
It's our honest preview, I guess. But if you enjoyed this preview somehow, please do drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat. Check out our Patreon, and we'll catch you on Wednesday evening with our build-up show when we have a look at West Ham reserves taking on Blackburn reserves. Catch you then.